Hello, my name is Michelle Miller, and I am your Anatomy and Physiology instructor this quarter. This is Biology 231, so 200 level Anatomy and Physiology class. And hopefully most of you have had biology in the recent past, maybe cell biology. And so some of the stuff at the very beginning might be a little bit of a review, but we're going to pick up quite quickly and go through the beginning sequence of this course. There are three quarters to this course, but you don't have to take them in any particular order. So this is considered the first course, and it is going to be over tissues. It's also going to talk about the integumentary system, the skin, the skeletal system, bones and joints. And then we're going to talk about blood and the heart and the blood vessels and the regulation of blood pressure and those kinds of things. So let's look at your Canvas site. So you'll notice here that you have a little start your journey here section. The syllabus, which we'll go over in a second, is here. I want to mention that as of Sunday, January 4th, I have not quite gotten the code for the mastering yet. So I'm looking and hoping that that will come within the next couple of days, and I will keep you updated. So I apologize for the delay. It was kind of a very strange beginning to the quarter because of everything being closed for the last couple of weeks because of Christmas and New Year's. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the syllabus first. And this contains information about how you are going to access the class. So there is this quarter, these required synchronous Zoom sessions on Thursdays from 12 to 1:30. I will try to record those. So if you miss it, hopefully you'll be able to catch the recording, but those are going to be graded. They're 5 points apiece. So it's not a lot of points, but it will be helpful in the end to have those points. And it is really a good idea to engage in synchronous learning with your other students in the class. So I'm really looking forward to that. Office hours, I don't know why it didn't get put in here, but they are going to be Monday and Tuesday, and I will put those into the Canvas site, the times in the mornings. And if you can't meet me at those particular times, please email me through Canvas, and we can set up another time to meet on Zoom. Okay, so there's some information about course objectives, what you're going to kind of learn this quarter, what the goal of the class is. We're going to be doing labs using that Pearson Mastering PhysioX, and those are going to come later in the quarter when we get to blood and the heart and the cardiovascular system. For the labs, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be sending you some packets of papers, and I'll send out some information about that as well so that you can get me your home addresses, and so that you can kind of have something besides what is on the computer. I know that I finally gave up on my home printer because it was just too hard to keep it up. So I don't know if you guys have printers, but if you have printers, you can print stuff off. But if you don't, you know, it's kind of difficult to have something besides just the images on the screen. So we're going to be working on that as we go through the course, getting you those resources. We're also going to have other kinds of lab assignments, like watching a video and answering questions that are related to that. We're going to have homework and quiz assignments. I'll show you those in a little bit. And so we have this grading scale this approximation of points, which are subject to change, not dramatically, but maybe just like a little tweaking here and there. So we have the dynamic mastering modules, study modules, which we'll talk about in a second. We have the mastering quizzes, and then the follow-ups to the quizzes. We have the PhysioX labs and the homework, midterm and final exams. These midterm and final exams, you're going to take at your own leisure during a certain window. You're going to take it at home on your computer. They're going to be open book, open notes, but not open friend. And you are going to have those exams are going to be timed. And so you want to make sure that you spend a good amount of time actually studying, like if you weren't going to have all of your resources, because there's not going to be enough time for you to look up every single answer and then like try to figure out what the answer is. So I will give you tips on how to study as we go through for those big exams. The grade distribution is just straight points, 90%, 80 to 90, 70 to 80 is a C, below 60 is not passing, okay? There's also some information about special needs and disabilities if you need to make an appointment to be tested, for example, to see if you need some accommodations for the class. Okay, so let's go to home. You'll notice here that there is this My Lab and Mastering. For me, that link works. For you, it's not going to work right away, but it will eventually work. And that is going to be how you are going to access your textbook. So the textbook is going to be online. The textbook, I've given you information about the textbook, but you might want to get if you're like a very person that needs the actual textbook, you could buy probably an older edition of the Mary-Eb textbook online for not very much. And so you'd actually have the physical textbook to like do when you actually don't want to spend all of your time on the computer doing this. But there are going to be study modules where you're going to need to read through the online material and then answer the questions, and it's interactive. And so it should be a good way to learn this information. There's a lot of information in anatomy and physiology. So the more different ways that you can interact with the information, the better. And learning your learning style is something that's super important to do at the very beginning of this course. Okay. So for every week, we have a topic. So you notice the first topic this week is just going to be introduction. This is chapter 1 of the book. There's a Khan Academy crash course to anatomy and physiology. And then I have key concepts and essay questions. So we have here a list of the key concepts, and these are the essay questions. What I would recommend that you do is copy these and write up information about each of them, maybe definitions, examples. The essay questions is going to be really important that you answer those before the midterm and the final exams. You're not going to turn them in every week to me to be graded, but rather these are the possible essay questions on the midterm and the final exam. So you need to make sure that you can answer them. And we'll talk more about how to go about answering those and getting ready for the midterm and the final exams later, okay? So let's go back to home, and then notice that I can go back to home. I could also, like after week 1, if I wanted to just not look at all this information, so I don't want to have to keep scrolling, I could just click on this and notice it collapses it. And now I'm in week 2. So these dynamic study modules will link you to the textbook, right? You notice that they're not worth a lot of points. It's like 2 points a piece. There's quite a few of them, but that will be good to help guide you through the course. You'll also notice that there are some pre-recorded lectures that would be a really good idea to watch before coming to class on Thursday, before the live Zoom. That information you're going to need to know for the tests. There's going to be a mastering quiz, which you get 2 tries for. That is through the mastering. And then there's going to be a lecture quiz, which is just over your lecture information. You'll notice that these assignments are due Sunday, and that's at midnight. So every week there's going to be assignments due. You get a 10% reduction in the grade for every day that you are late. So you could do them on Monday. You'll just get a partial deductions. Better to do them late than to not do them at all, right? So if you need assistance and you're like, if something happens, comes up, and you're like in the hospital, right? You need to let me know so that I can get you reassigned due dates so that we can take care of that particular situation, okay? So there's also some, for this week, there's going to be some assignments, nutrition. This should harken back to some of the things you might have learned about in cell biology. And then this is a biodigital. This is learning the bones of the body, which is kind of a fun website to do to start to learn. I would this week, this very first week, we're going to learn the body, the regional terminology. We're going to learn how we orient the body. This is a review from cell biology, but like, what does proximal mean? What is distal? What is medial? What does lateral mean? And then this week, this first week, I would start learning the bones, like humerus, radius and ulna, your carpal bones, right? Your metacarpals, your phalanges. So just learning the bones will be very good because you not only have to know the bones by the end of the quarter, but you also have to know the little parts of the bones. And so there's a lot of detailed information. So it's good to just start right away. Some people love the memorization and the anatomy. Some people struggle with that and they love the mechanisms. They love the physiological stuff that we're going to talk about. So you have to decide what it is that you need to spend a little extra time on. What is it that you love? And what is it that you just need to work a little bit harder on so that you can be successful in this course? Okay, so that is the kind of the overview of what we're going to be doing. I have the first week mapped out pretty well, the second week mapped out pretty well, but I need to continue. I'll be continuing to add to the later weeks as we go along. This is the very first time I have ever taught this class online, so keep that in mind. Okay, so let's look at home again. I'm going to put a link up here under Start Your Journey to how to find me on Zoom, how to find the live Zoom class. I'll be sending that out, more information about that too. And then other than that, I think that is the general introductory information. So welcome. I'm so excited to interact with you and to help you have a wonderful quarter. Oh.